Hello.
Hello, happy Sunday shift.
Happy Sunday shift. Um, it's been a day, it's been a week, it's been a year, it's been a lifetime. Um, Thank y'all. Welcome to the show. Please like, please subscribe, please tell a friend to tell a friend about Sunday shift. Um, and just want to like shout out and thank the people who bought us coffees. Uh, Adis, Glenda, Rodney, Jid, and Liz. Adis, I have just been in my feels a lot about um the world. And I was in my feels, and then your donation came through, and I want you to know that I like cried.
Aw.
Like it was just one of those things. I feel like, and I know Tanya and I, we talk a little bit about politics. We talk a lot about politics. It depends on the week, but I've just really been feeling. I don't know, Tanya, how you feel like about all the kind of like choices and sacrifices we made as like activists in our work, and then to see things kind of not only uh be disrupted but like move so backwards. It just had me in my feels, and I was holding it together, and then your kindness threw me over the edge. So thank you for supporting us, and also thank you for that cathartic cry that I had. um yeah, how have you been, Tanya? How are you?
Well, I've been getting over a head cold. If I sound a little congested, it's because I'm still getting over it. I
I am also
spent,
getting over cold.
I actually took sick days on Thursday and Friday. Um, so I've been kind of hazily going through my week, but there's a lot that's concerning that's happening. It's like for real. Like this this guy ain't playing, and it's like it's very frustrating and sad. The blessing is that I don't know if it's a blessing because we're going through all these disasters, but living in, California where, at least our leaders are trying to fight. But still, it's very tough, and I'm just praying for our country and the world right now. Um, but yeah, I've just been getting over a cold, so that's been my life. The fact that I can breathe through my nose today has been very encouraging. I'm
Yeah.
very excited. It's weird because, I learned when I was pre-med, I learned that everything that we are going through is just as well, the symptoms that we go through is the manifestation of our body fighting off infection. And so when we get, we can't breathe through our nose or we can't do stuff that's painful, it's just a result of real action. And so it's a blessing almost that we are going through these symptoms because if we weren't, we would be dying. So it's like, it's really weird, but I'm always like amazed at how wonderfully made our bodies are. It's like the scientist in me nerds out even while I'm suffering. So,
Yeah, I was supposed I if you notice my background, I'm still in Milwaukee. I was supposed to
uh-huh.
have come home a couple weeks ago, but then I got sick, and it was like a sinus infection, and I can't fly when I'm congested. I mean, nobody should fly when they're congested.
Mo-
The one time I did it, I thought my head was going to explode. I was like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to anyone.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, still being with family is good. But yeah, so when I'm sick, I watch a lot of rom-coms. So I did like When Harry Met Sally. I did You Got Mail. I rewatched To All the Boys trilogy because modern day classics. And then I've just been watching Grey's Anatomy, and I was telling Tara, a friend of the show, Tara, that I think watching Grey's actually is what frustrates me the most with GH. Because even like when I watch Grey's, even when something makes me mad, I'm like, yeah, but that character would sure do that. Like that makes sense. And the frustrating part of watching GH is just like I just feel like we're going from plot point to plot point, and like there's no character development. stuff is just happening. And I'm like, all right, guess we're here. I had to remember because I think I've said this before, I usually will rewatch the show, like
Mhm.
GH during the week. I'll usually rewatch it on like Saturday night or something and take notes, my hot takes. It's been months since I've rewatched the show. If I get it the first time around or can't like pick it up in context clues, it's really tough to watch it again. So here we are. Who was your performer of the week?
Yeah, I mean, back to your like it's tough to rewatch. Before we started recording, I was just like, who was the performer of the week
Right?
this week? And not to not give props to our amazing actors who do amazing work. It just wasn't like a week of, oh my God, this was just so amazing. And but you know, our usual folks, dead on. Like Jane Elliott was hilarious.
Oh
Her
my
being
God,
in
so good.
her being in jail just was like icing on the cake, even though it's like unbelievable. Like, what? Tracy Quartermain in jail? We don't actually see her behind bars, but her being, in the witness is great. And, her and Michael E. Knight have great chemistry. And folks are
Okay.
comparing them together as they're going back and forth and they're fighting with each other. Folks are like rumor mill, like, are they getting together? I don't know if that's the case, but I enjoy watching them act together.
I like their banter.
Yes.
Hmm.
Also, um, Laura Wright, she's just gorgeous, amazing, queen. Folks were like, is she leaving the show? And immediately I was scared too. But
I knew she wasn't going
she was
nowhere.
she went on Twitter and was like, I'm not going anywhere. But there was a lot of crazy rumors. Like she's getting married and she's doing this. And I was like, where are y'all getting this information? But she actually went on X and her social media accounts and said she's not going anywhere. She's not getting married. And to follow her to Germany. And we did this week. And she had a bad time. And she, as an
Hmm.
actress, conveyed that very well, and I was pleasantly excited by her visitor, and I'm pleasantly excited about what's to come.
Hmm.
So, yeah, those were my performances.
Can't argue with that. Jane Elliott, the two pieces. I mean, every scene she was in just gave it to me. She was.
Hmm.
It didn't happen this week, but I love when she's with Stella.
Hmm.
Um, but her putting her fingers in her ear,
Throwing things at Martin. Just like,
what a treasure! What a treasure! And
yeah.
I do think, and this is kind of getting into the show. I think I'm always wondering like what the writers want us to see. You know what I mean? Like, what is the story they're trying to tell? I do wonder if they knew that the audience was going to side so decidedly with Tracy. Because on paper, so much of the stuff that you see, like, of course, give Willow her kids back. Of course, like, you see these things on paper without, like, knowing the context. But
Mhm.
then when you see it, you're like, nah, show them the kids. Like, it's very. And so Jane Elliott is one of those performers that, like, really. Tracy is not the Tracy of old
Mhm.
that was like villain or whatever. She is actually like very beloved. So even when she does something that's like foul, you still kind of love her
Mhm.
because she's Tracy and
And
played by Jane Elliott.
right, you enjoy it. You're like looking forward to seeing her do it.
Something's happening.
Right.
Yeah. So let's get into Michael. So as you mentioned, they went to Germany. So week starts where Carly has Portia wake Michael up from being sedated to ask him if he wants to go to Johns Hopkins or if he wants to go to this clinic in Germany. Michael says Germany, but then he asks to speak to Sasha. I said, "Ooh, not the baby mama." And like, oh, this is bold. And then, which my Misha heart, very happy. Um, but then Willow wants to like speak to Michael, and whatever she says either upsets him or something because she wants to apologize, get it off her conscience. And Carly goes off on her. Sasha, of course, makes it last minute, doesn't get to talk to Michael. And then we have her moving him to Germany, kind of sedated. Jack Brennan puts together everything for her. The plane, the nurses on the plane. I said, okay, that's a man right there. Uh, and we pick up at the performances that you were speaking on. So, how did you feel about? Let's start with Michael's decision. Obviously, it's clear that we knew that was going to happen, but how did you feel like it sat with his character?
Um, I'm surprised. Well, one, I never thought Michael is someone to like be overly concerned about his appearance per se, but I imagine as a victim of being, yeah, I can't imagine being a victim of a fire at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so wanting to make sure they got the best, of course. And but he trusts his mom
Right.
and implicitly. And so I wasn't surprised that he would go with what she wanted. And I'm glad that he validated that versus, letting Drew be like, oh yeah, we know Carly manipulated the situation.
That was wild.
He is so like Drew being in this situation is wild to me. And the fact that, yes, I mean, we don't want, criminal activity, right? We don't want Sonny to go around murdering people, except I do. I want him to take his goons and drag this man out into the boondocks and get rid of him for good. Because he is just inserting himself needlessly in situations he has no business being in.
Put him
But
on me hook.
that's besides the point. Michael validated what Carly knew would be best for him. And so I was glad that that happened. But I said last week, I just think it was really crazy that they had to wake him up and have him endure pain in order to get this decision being made. But it's for the best dramatic effect, I guess.
Right.
Willow going in and saying that she's sorry and she loved him. I don't know if she knows what love means. You don't love somebody and then have the man that you had an affair with within the vicinity in the hospital room dictating what you should be doing, letting you use the man that you supposedly love in order to get what you want. That's not love. That's wild. And so I could not find her sincere. I did not feel sorry for her
No.
at all. And yeah, if she was in there speaking that way to me, it would have pissed me off. And I imagine that stress at his anger and his fear, but the anger at Willow and resentment probably helped him get that attack where they had to sedate him. So she didn't help anything in my opinion.
No, I
Uh,
agree with that because
yeah.
I agree with that, and I think they're working overtime so clearly for Drew to be this villain, right? And they're also working overtime to make us feel sorry for Willow or to like feel her confusion and I just don't see it. Y'all can say everything that you want characters to say, but I am seeing what is happening with my eyes. The fact that Michael is in the burn unit ICU and Drew thought it was appropriate to like roll up there and then try to like call into question what that whether Carly would do what's best for her son or not was crazy. How dare you?
Right.
Carly does not like you or y'all fell out, but Drew broke up with Carly. Carly didn't betray Drew.
Right. So that's the question is why is he so angry at her?
You're so hostile, and it's not. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to like storytelling, because if you think about Drew has nobody. We saw him like fall out with Curtis and him even trying to like take the business from Michael. like as he was going off to the burn unit and Curtis having to call that out. Drew has nobody. Drew is alone. I remember back when Nina was kind of like the pariah of the social medias. Her fans would be like, "She's by herself. They're piling on her." Nina always had people. Nina had Sasha, Nina had Curtis, Nina had Maxie and her family. So it's like, yeah, social media might not have liked Nina, or whoever might not have liked her. The people on screen who shouldn't have not liked her didn't like her. But she was never alone or isolated. She had an Ava at the time. She was dating Sunny at the time, or married to Sunny at the time. She never was alone. Christina
Right.
was capping for her. Drew is truly alone. There is no one on his side except for Willow, and the assumption is when she finds out about Willow and Nina, she or Drew and Nina, she won't be on his side then. So what is really happening with this character? What are we supposed to be getting from this? And you villainizing him, making him a monster, still doesn't make me look at Willow any less of that. I'm sure it does for other people, but it doesn't help me.
Mm-mm, it does not.
She was like,
Um,
what did you think when she was like when they were like Drew leave and she was and Willow was like, I want him here.
again, it totally it smacks in the face of her saying, I love Michael and I care about Michael. You don't care about Michael wanting your lover in the same room, in the hospital room with you. You
Mm-hmm.
don't. You know, I would have been like, yeah, Michael doesn't know that Drew's here, but out of respect in my soul and my heart, I know it's not the right thing for him to be here. That's me. And
Mm-hmm.
I no, she doesn't feel that way at all. And she when she did, she pulled him away and was like, okay, let's go over here because you being here isn't appropriate, but I'm gonna say I want him here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just no, it was petty and immature. I didn't like it.
And as much as I don't like Nina, Nina loves Willow. And it actually feels like to me, and y'all know, if you listen to the show, you know how I feel about Nina. But it does feel like to me, she has seen how controlling Drew is of Willow and like taken a step back from trying to do that. Willow is not alone. Willow did not need Drew there to like comfort her. Her mother could have been there because she's gotten close to Nina anyway. It's just so disrespectful. So disrespectful, in fact, that nobody is mad that Michael called his baby mama instead of his wife.
I was like, yeah.
I was
I
like,
was. I was like, yes, you called for Sasha. Sasha's
and
your
I
only
was mad, and
right.
I was mad he didn't get to see her.
Right. Like Hartley. Because Willow had to step in and clear her conscience. Now Sasha can't see. And she don't even know why. She just like anyone but Willow.
We are the same. Get her out of
Right.
here. So obviously, we have Tracy, as you alluded to, in jail because she's not giving him kids up. Drew comes down there with Martin. Tracy is refusing until finally Jason comes through on a white horse and a leather jacket, or maybe a black motorcycle instead of a white horse and leather jacket, and comes up with the compromise that Willow will get her kids back as long as she moves back into the gatehouse on the Quartermain property. And after we find out after the fact that also means that Drew cannot be on the property, so Drew can't be at the gatehouse. When Tracy called Drew Willow's boyfriend, I was like, "Don't look indignant, girl. That's your man." Anyway, I was enjoyed Tracy, but I did feel. I just feel like they're not using people. Like I feel like Dante should have had more of an opinion. These are
Mhm.
his nephew. This is his niece and nephew. This is like Michael. Like whether you think it's right or wrong, like have some feelings about it. Lulu had to be there to like have Tracy see the light. I don't know. How are you feeling about? Well, how are you feeling about the story? But then I also want to ask, like, how are you feeling about like Dante and Christina's absence from the story? And Jocelyn, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Christina a little bit in the hospital, and she was kind of giving a little attitude to Drew, a little bit. And I was like, finally, she's in the mix. Finally, she's there. And Willow was about to tell her, Willow was telling her, well, I'm hoping we can all get along now, and she's like, why? Because of the kids. And she's like, no, because I don't think it's good for everyone to be against me or as the mother of the children. And Christina was about to say something, but then Drew sidled up again. And I wanted to actually hear what Christina was going to say. Like, Christina has not really gone off on Willow yet. I feel like it's on the tip of her tongue. Like, she's just waiting. And so I'm hoping that they will give her that time to go off on Willow. Like, maybe Willow will stop by the club with Drew. Oh God, please let that happen because I think Christina will go off. But yeah, I'm waiting for Christina's reaction. I'm also being there in the context of him being a cop again doesn't satisfy me because when he's a
Hmm.
cop, he plays it neutral. And
Hmm.
so there as a brother, that's a whole different thing. And we don't know what his opinion is of what Willow did and talking to Drew. And I actually want to hear him go off on Drew for taking Scout away from,
Right.
like everything. He has a lot of reasons to be upset over what has happened. The betrayal of
Right.
his mother, um, separating the kids. I think he should have a lot to say about that. But since he was there just as cop alone, he didn't get that opportunity to do that. So I'm hoping the writers do give him that time because he should have. I mean, he was there to support Sunny, and be like, this shouldn't have happened. Just don't make this into a war. Again, as the supporting son, but still more of a cop than the son.
Hmm.
I want him to express his feelings as a man, as a son, as a brother, as a father, and how all of this
Hmm.
affects him. And we're not
Right.
seeing right
Hmm.
now.
Absolutely. I feel like it's been really lackluster, both like the exit of Michael. Michael is like Chad's Michael is 15 years deep.
Yeah.
I don't understand, like, I don't know if it's money. I don't know if it's just like they don't care. I don't know what's happening. But like to have Christina opening up a bar and not even really mentioning Michael, it was like that didn't even happen in the same world.
Yeah. Like
What's going on?
she could have been like, "Hi everyone, thank you for coming to my new opening. Let's, have a moment of silence for my brother." She
Or
didn't, yeah.
tonight is like going to like a burn center, something, something,
Yeah.
something. Like the proceeds from that girl, because you don't need no money, you're rich. It
Right.
just it was like so disconnected from everything. To your point, what does Dante feel? What is his opinion? Is Michael's his brother? They were close. He was like there and had to be the one to tell Carly about Morgan. Like this keeps happening, and I don't want a show again where everybody is mad at Sunny, but certainly some people should be mad at Sunny. What are we saying that nobody like Carly's like mad at herself, and I think that's appropriate. I get it, and like those are really good questions, and I think that that actually is like something her character should continually explore. But nobody is upset at Sunny. Like this is the second kid that went out this way. Like Morgan died and he's like pink mist, maybe. And then now Michael is rotisserie. Like what are where is the actual stakes of that? And part of that problem is that you're not telling that story every day. I think you and I were talking about, I was saying that if you go back in the day and you watch like J Sam, like if I go back and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch like a Jason and Sam playlist, you can love it or you can hate it, but they were on all the time. You actually built investment in that couple because they were always there, because they were always present. So it'd be like 11, 12, 11, 13, 11, 14, 11, 15. All those days they're on. This we see people once a week, every other week. And so I'm really feeling like one, it makes it hard to like invest in the exit because like what do you mean Jocelyn wasn't there, Christina wasn't there, Dante wasn't there, to like Lucas wasn't there, the family wasn't there. Lucky hasn't even asked about him. Lulu hasn't really even asked about him. So you are there for Tracy and like knowing what's happening with these kids, but you're not asking about your cousin being burnt up. It just like it just feels so low stakes with nobody being upset at Sunny and like nobody even being there to see Michael off. She just hopped on the jet and was like, "All right, I'll see y'all later." Like
Yeah.
what?
The only time like Jake like Sonny was like take care of Michael and then that was kind of it. Um the only person who's really upset and scared is Ava because
Hmm.
she's concerned about her daughter. But yeah, it does seem a little like there's like everyone's focusing on making sure that Michael is okay. And like they were kind of just biding their time to go off on Sunny, maybe.
Hmm.
But a feeling that like everything else with this writing is, yeah, it's just gonna be glossed over. Like I'm like wishing for things to happen, like Dante to have his moment, Christina to have her moment. But honestly, I don't feel it's gonna happen because that's just the way the writing has been. It's been just so
Hmm.
fast paced and okay, the dramatic thing happened, but we're going to move right along. We're not going to have the full cast have consequences. We're not going to have the full cast being able to air their feelings about it. Only the immediate family will get to deal with it, and then the rest of the town just don't have any feelings about it whatsoever. The rest
Hmm.
of the town
Hmm.
is just going to go about their business and only care about their thing, right?
Right.
Like, so like Trina doesn't get an opportunity to be traumatized by it. Elizabeth or, Lucky or any of them. They're just like, okay, so that happened to Sunny.
Hmm.
That's sad. But I'm going to focus on my murder mystery right now. Or Trina, I'm going to focus on my football player friend who, no one else knows about anything that's happening in the rest of the town or they don't care. And it's
Hmm.
like, the town used to be more unified. Like when the reveal that Willow and Drew are having an affair, the whole town would have been talking about it, and no one's
Hmm.
talking about it. But
Hmm.
but people know
They're out in the open. They're out
it's
in the
out
open. This
right.
is
So
scandalous. It
it's
should be,
yeah,
but, but this is also like a little bit of what I've been thinking about around like character development. I'll see and people will be like, oh, I don't really care for Geo. I don't care for uh Kai, I don't care for this person, that person. I was like, well, the reality to me is that if you don't go into a story already caring about characters, or if somebody is not a character that you already care about, it's really difficult to start caring about them because what is happening that is making us say, oh, I like this person? It's charisma of the actors. So like New Lucas obviously has lots of charisma, and so we love him. I like Isaiah, that's because he's so handsome. But like there's not a lot else going on that makes you say, okay, now I'm on board with this character. You either kind of like them or you don't. And a lot of the like not liking people is an annoyance that they're either changing around storyline, like what we're about to have Geo do, or that like Kai is getting, I think people are feeling like Kai is getting more is more of the focal point of this relationship than Trina is, when Trina is the character that we have known for so long. Um, and even with storylines, I'm like, most of the stuff that we like is like the fan fiction that we're projecting, not necessarily like what's playing out in front of us. It's like what we think is going to happen. So I don't know. I hope they turn a corner with like actually making things happen because we do have so many good pieces in place. We have so many good actors. We have like, I mean, we've said this before. We have good bones on the stories or like on the show, but the stories are not really manifesting. I mean, how many times is Anna just gonna be annoyed at everybody? I gotta imagine Fanola, who is like a once in a like just like a phenomenal actress, has got to be like, what are you giving me to do? What is this? So anyway, let's talk about Charlie's opening or reopening. So obviously, we saw they had a little makeover. I was underwhelmed, but I did love that we finally had, before they got broken up, I did love that we finally had Jordan and Isaiah on a date. Just
Mhm.
two ridiculously beautiful people, almost disrespectfully beautiful people, to be honest with you. Absolutely gorgeous couple. They looked so good sitting together. Um, we'll get into what happened next,
They
but
almost
just
had
I
like
just want
matching
to,
outfits, right? Like they were both kind of
yes,
wearing purple plum.
I just want to live a second in like what the potential for that couple is. Just extremely beautiful people with really great chemistry who we should be highlighting. I'll say that. Um, I surprisingly am am fine with like the Lucky Christina thing. I mean, I guess we forgot that Lucky not supposed to be drinking.
Right. I was just like, yay, Lucky has a job. But then I'm like, he's an alcoholic. Should he be a bartender?
He
He's
been
like,
drinking.
he's been drinking and trying the whiskey and all of that. I was like, is that kosher? I don't know. But hey, we're just gonna, you know,
We'll go with it. LNL2 looking very cute together. Liz, she got that curling iron out, baby, and she did that hair. She
get
said, "Me
dressed
and my
up.
man." She said, "Me and my man about to have a very similar hairstyle, and I'm very into that." They are my bright spot. It's like Jordan Isaiah and Liz and Lucky are like my bright spots of the show. They're like flirty. They kind of like there's still like an innocence in like the way they look at each other and a sweetness. And if you're not into that, I can get why you don't really care for LNL too, but I am very much into that. I love the history of them, and I love their chemistry. And so seeing them together was good. We got a Spixie sighting at the bar. I'm really trying to lead into some positivity before we tear it apart.
No, I actually enjoyed the bar scene.
Mhm.
I was entertained by Brick trying to, woo Jordan away from because this man is laying it on hella thick, going in, breaking up fights, giving cash to the waitress, and being all smooth and all this other stuff. I'm like, let's see how far he's gonna take this. I was mildly entertained because I was just like, it ain't gonna work. She ain't gonna go for you. You ain't it. But it was funny. Um,
I
and then
am generally able to separate people's like off-screen antics with their
yeah,
on-screen characters if we see them a lot. Stephen
yeah,
A. Smith has been showing his behind so much that
right.
every time I see Brick, I want to jump through the TV. Sorry, go ahead.
Understandable. But he was like, usually he doesn't entertain me, but him being a foil or kind of like some little, entertainment in terms of Jordan Isaiah was okay with me. Um, I enjoyed seeing Spixie on the scene. I enjoyed watching Spinelli be like, what the hell is going on with you with Cody? Like Cody was on one and, and he was just like, excuse me? Are you
Belligerent.
are you trying to take me down? I am the husband of Maxie who you supposed to care about, and you're trying to take me down. Are you serious? It was like someone talking sense, like Spinelli talking sense into somebody was just comedy. Um, And yeah, I agree with you. I enjoying very much the LNL, chemistry, kind of the slow, getting to know one another really again and working together on this mystery, I
Mhm.
feel like they're almost finding excuses to be in one another's orbit by like,
Yeah.
we need to work on my case. Like, y'all don't need to work on this case, but here you are. So that's fine. So it's great. I love it. So yeah, I don't think Charlie's needed an upgrade, but I guess we got to give Christina something to do. So it was fine. So yeah, it was a actually entertaining storyline to have. But
It is
Cody,
always nice. Oh my God. It is always nice when we get to cast together to mix it up and like different
yeah,
people who are not necessarily in the same spot, like being able to be in the same spot. So that was nice. Cody, your fave. Tell me. You're a listener. You have no idea what Tanya's face looks like if you don't listen, if you just listen.
I
But hilarious.
I cannot. Just the gall. I'm just like,
Mm.
really? You're gonna shake down Spinelli? Like you owe me money? Dude, Spinelli owes you a kick in the ass. And the fact that Lucky had to be the one to take the punch was crazy. And I actually wanted to see Lucky kick his ass because I know Lucky could. Neither one of them are like, like big buff dudes or anything, but Lucky's wiry enough and is has the Spencer genes, the crazy genes enough to kick his ass. Like I feel like Lucky will pick up every bottle in the room and smash against his head, but we didn't get to see the fight, and I'm mad. I wanted to
I
see
thought something was
that
wrong. I was like, what's wrong with my TV?
right. Like all we saw was just like one punch. I'm like, wait a minute. I know Lucky did not let that go down without, I'm just like, I can't. And so I was mad that I didn't get to see Cody get his ass kicked. Um, and so yeah,
I don't know if he did because he looked fine and Lucky looked a
I
little beat
know.
up. But it's
So yeah,
like
Cody
you tried.
and then all Cody gets is like a talk down by his dad. No, I
After
want
being rude to Molly, get out of
I
here,
mean,
Cody.
yeah, and so folks are just like, oh, is this gonna be like a new love hate thing between Molly and Cody? I'm like, Molly does not deserve Cody. Molly does not. Christina, maybe. Molly, no.
I am not interested in this regression of Cody.
Mhm.
He essentially is like this now the same Cody he was when he came in scamming Britt. Like trying to scam Spinelli, then being mad that Lucky doesn't have to pay something. First of all, bro, you hit Lucky. Second of all, he works there. Third of all, quit pocket watching. Okay, all of those things are true. Um, I luck or not lucky. Cody became like watchable within the relationship with Sasha.
I think he was
Like,
watchable to me with Tracy. Like I don't even like him with
sure, I don't even mean as like a pairing with Sasha. I mean like
yeah
try
during that
like
time
going and
period.
trying to save her and like
Right.
being like, all of that. That's when he became somebody that was like not just the guy who had tried to scam Brit and like just like a worthless bum. He became somebody who was like, okay, I never really cared for him, but I got it. And then to your point, like the relationship with Tracy was also the relationship with Leo, who poor little
Yeah.
baby Leo ain't been around to put this
My
grown man on his
God.
shoulders, to put this
Oh.
grown man on his shoulders.
Right.
So I wasn't a fan of that. I'm not a fan of this character backsliding in that way. I think if it would have just been what happened, I would have been annoyed. But what really threw me over the edge with annoyance was like how belligerent he was afterwards, as if it was somebody else's fault besides his own. Like, have some shame.
He has no
Yeah,
shame. He's a worthless character. He needs to be gone.
all
He's
right.
a waste of space. Get rid of this man today. Sorry,
Okay.
the actor, I'm sure you're a probably a nice person, but your character is a waste of my time and my energy, and you're spending Kelly Monaco money on this man. No, he needs to be gone.
Mhm.
I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Woo, as you said, absolutely. So speaking of like rewinding back to the bar, we have Jordan and Isaiah on their date. Isaiah gets called away because homophobic Maria Santos finds Sunny collapsed on the ground. Um, Apparently he just needed to get that pill stuck in his mouth dry, and he was gonna be okay. So they call Isaiah over. And Isaiah is like, fussing. And finally, Brick, after flirting with Jordan, comes to the place and is and sets Sunny up with an LA cardiologist because obviously you can't have a cardiologist in Port Charles who will know your business. So Sunny and homophobic Maria Santos are going to LA to get his heart looked at. Here's my question, and I joked about this last week. The mansions just be having custody of these kids. So Ava is trying to get her daughter back, trying to get Avery back. Carly in Germany, Sunny out of town, and
Where are these kids at?
Ava still can't have her daughter. They got to stop with these custody battles.
Right. I mean, like, let Ava have Avery. What the hell? You're about to go to California. Why are you fighting this? And you know she's safe with Ava. You know Ava did not push Christina out the window. Why are you mad at Ava for wanting custody of her daughter? Let it go. Really?
But
Why?
this is the thing the show does because I had to remember. I was like, why are they so mad at Ava? And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about the med stuff. I forgot about all the
Oh yeah,
things that
the man.
Ava. I forgot about all the things that Ava had done because it doesn't even matter anymore. Y'all just be having people do stuff, and I can't. Like, I guess I gotta let the meds go because Sonny shot a man in the chest. I'm sorry, a Fed in the
Ava
chest.
is like one of those characters. Ava is one of those characters that we don't care if she does bad things. She's still great. She's like Maura West is great. She's an amazing actress. We don't care. If Ava goes and shoots somebody tomorrow, we're not gonna care because it's probably gonna be somebody we hate anyway. She goes
Ooh,
and shoots Drew, we will be happy.
oh my
We'll be
God,
like,
a
yes,
hero.
thank you. And
Heroes welcome.
everyone in town will be like, oh well, Ava, shame on you. Moving right along. That's why we would feel. But Ava is not necessary of a character that she can really we will look at her and be like, man, Ava, you shouldn't have done that, but I still love you, girl. you know, keep on it. You deserve your kids. You deserve to have wealth. I don't understand why they're making her poor. It makes no sense. It's not that
Well,
interesting.
no. Well, I'll say a couple of things about Ava. I don't share the. I mean, I love Maura West, and so I will always want Ava around. I don't always like Ava, but that's also because Carly fan here, all that.
Carly,
Um,
but
but yeah, but Ava is Ava played by
yeah,
Maura. If she was played by somebody else, it'd be like no. But we don't want
right.
Maura West going anywhere. Okay.
Exactly.
Um, but there's something to me about all of these custody battles they do with these kids. So if you think about like a Michael, for example, even when it was little redhead Michael, we knew him. So when people was fighting over Michael, we understood like Michael was ever present on the show. Y'all keep having us fighting over off-screen kids. How many times has Avery been in a custody battle since she was born? Enough. Enough. Y'all gotta figure out something to write besides custody battles. It's not even about liking Ava, not liking Ava, whatever. Give her part-time custody, like go half and half with her on this custody because we're tired of seeing it. Literally, this has been like we don't need any more custody storylines, especially when we have the storyline with Willow and her kids. We're probably gonna have something with Sasha. Where like it's just over and over again. At some point, even if you think about Wiley and Amelia and like all of that, how many times has Wiley been to court over custody?
A lot. That kid probably has whiplash. It's crazy.
They did back to back court. It wasn't custody, but they did back to back court with Nina, where it was like she went to court in Pennsylvania about Sunny, and that's when like everything blew up, was finding out that he was in love with her, whatever, or Carly found out. And then right after that, they went to court over grandparents' rights. Enough, enough. So we got this custody battle. Ava has had to move into her poor girl apartment, which people were arguing over whose part. I thought that looked like Chase's old apartment, but maybe not. Um, and yeah, so Ava's moved into her poor girl apartment, and her and Rick made out to seal the deal.
And he was very convincing.
That's one hell of a. I know you're broke, Ava. That's one hell of a payment. I approve.
Yeah, we all do. And we're glad. Yes.
I really enjoyed. I enjoy Ava and Rick. They're just like deliciously naughty. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they have great chemistry. Rick is just Rick is really similar to Ava, where he's just one of those characters. It's like, yeah, I know what he did.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
He kidnapped
this
her, put her in a room.
in a panic room, and I hate him forever for it. And I'm like, bring my man home. Bring my guy home and put him with Ava because they could, if they allow them, they could be a complete mess together, and I'm here for every minute of
Yes. It would be entertaining. They could have their own spin-off show.
it. Right. And so we talked about Lucky and Liz kind of like going after Cyrus and figuring out that they were going to do that together. And then we have Jocelyn getting updated from Lucas about Cyrus being about the digitalis, all that, and her telling Lucas that she knows he killed Dex. Very unrelated. Let me say this. I don't know if you're in any of the Facebook groups, but oh my God, it was like 80 messages. It's like, what's wrong with Jocelyn's hair? What's going on with Jocelyn's hair?
My God,
Did
that
you
was
see
so
this?
annoying. Yes. Oh my God, I saw all of them post, and every single one, people are like, if you actually watch the show, you would know that Avery was doing their hair. But it just seemed like nobody saw any of the previous messages. It was just like
It
stupid.
was I saw one last night from somebody catch it. I was like, oh my God, I'll lose my mind over here. Is this supposed to be a joke? Because the other piece of it was like I did miss what I missed the first piece of it, so I didn't know. But I assumed it. We already had the scene on Christmas where Avery and Donna were putting stickers all over the kids or all over the adults. So my assumption when I saw Jocelyn's hair, I was like, oh yeah, Avery and Donna, to remind us that Avery and Donna are in the house.
Yeah.
They're off screen, but we know that they're there because
But maybe our audience will only be convinced when they actually see Donna and Avery do Jocelyn's hair because it's like ridiculous. I mean, you guys should, I mean, we all should know that's what little girls like to do. That's what my nieces and nephews, whenever I was in town, they were always in my hair. It was like
always.
all that they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so to see her walking around with little butterfly clips in her hair, so even if it was Jocelyn that did that, so what?
But it was so obvious that it wasn't. This looks
Right.
like something little girls do. Okay. I was all right. So obviously we know Jocelyn. Look, now that we've had that silly conversation, we know that Jocelyn's about to go do something dangerous and make a fool of herself.
Oh my goodness. I hope she didn't keep that gun.
You know she did. Jocelyn about to do something stupid.
Child.
My girl, but she about to do something stupid. Um, we got Lulu gets a job in deception. So the scene I thought was interesting the way it went down because I always was like, why would Lulu even try to work for Brooklyn considering your relationship? And of course they keep dropping the anvil of like, you went after my boyfriend. You went after okay, enough. But um it felt like they were getting somewhere with her to be like, you know what, you're right, you're right, you're right. For Tracy to come in, I thought that she was gonna like turn Tracy down.
I did too.
Or at least like allow it to then be Lou or allow it to be Brooklyn to be like, you know what,
Right.
maybe we can make it work. She's like, oh, I'm getting paid a little extra. Sorry, girl. I work here now.
Right. And again, it just kind of it just kind of invigorates Brooklyn's resentment because Tracy is not doting on her so much anymore. It's all
Hmm.
about Lulu. And so it's like Lulu's the princess gets everything that she wants type thing. And my own grandmother is not taking my feelings into consideration.
Right.
Even though your grandmother also blackmailed you into getting the job in the first place, so you shouldn't be surprised. But it's just gonna be, still I can just see that resentment festering in Brooklyn's face. So it's not gonna be an easy time. Even if they had kind of a come to Jesus moment, it's not gonna be enough. And then when it all hits the fan about what happened with Dante, it's gonna be crazy.
Oh my God, it's gonna be so nasty. Because it's gonna also be like, I thought I had Dante's first child, but now, it's gonna be that silly stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and then we got Astar keeps calling him East Africa, white East African warlord. And so now I don't know his name.
Jen,
I,
Jen said well.
Jensen Will.
Whitey that White East Africa. Good one.
It's funny every time. I laugh every single time he says it. But so he's just out and about in these streets.
Right?
like,
Getting away with it. He
just
was in
like
the
as
look.
if
He's like,
I was like
I don't know what you're talking. Kidnapping. I don't know what you're talking.
I was like, oh, he's standing on big terrorist business. Okay. Like this, but the fact that he's kind of walking around, he shows up at the Charlie's opening conveniently after Lucky has left and gotten arrested or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. At the precinct. Conveniently after Isaiah leaves, right?
Right.
And but Jordan recognizes him, so he ends up having this meeting with Laura, and he was just like, I had to kidnap Lucky, obviously.
And I was in a part of the world there's no law, so I did what I did. It's not no big deal. Like, what are you talking about?
Big terrorist standing on big terrorist business. Uh,
And to protect my company, you do what you gotta do.
obviously,
And
maybe
someone
if you
stole from
was,
it.
and
He
you know
stole
what, he kind of won me over because
right.
one thing about me is I very much love audacity. Like, I love some audacity.
The Lord strolls into the mayor's office and was like, "You're gonna want me in this town. I'm gonna prove you wrong."
It was the audacity for me. I said, okay, I like you.
Right.
It was crazy. It was crazy. What are you doing? But he's there now, and I guess we have the answer of why the terrorists can walk around because you know
Like
he said no
nobody
business.
pressed charges against me. I mean, what? How can
Nobody
you say
pressed
that?
charges.
No one said anything, so I didn't do anything wrong.
Everything's legal. What happens in East Africa stays in East Africa.
I guess.
um, that's the title for this week. Actually, I've
Right.
decided. Happens
That's
in
a good one.
um, and then finally, we have Kai's football dreams are over. So Trina is going to visit Kai. She's at the GNC or whatever the Port Charles equivalent is to get him some like what some water, some alkaline water and power bars.
Power bars.
Um, Jocelyn encourages her to like go see him and like tells her that he's she's his non-football friend and it'll be nice. He talks to Stella, but before Trina gets there, he finds out from a doctor who comes to see him that because of his arm injury, his football career is over. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be real honest with you. I think the Kai actor is fine. I think that they have cute chemistry. Um, I didn't need a story that feels so focused on him and so unfocused on Trina. Like I I feel like if I'm being very honest, so much of Sprina was like that. So much of Sprina was focused on Spencer and Trina being a person who was like emotionally there for him, who took care of him, who had to understand him or understand what he was going through. I was really hoping for a character who came in and and like the story was centered on Trina and that he fit into that story and cared for her and supported her. I understand that they're trying to build Kai because um so much of the feedback that they've gotten on other characters who are new has been, why do I care about them? We don't care about them. The, Making these characters one note and harping on that note doesn't make us care about them either. What does Gio do besides the violin? What does Kai do besides football? We actually don't get full pictures of these characters. And so it is for me a little frustrating that the story is so focused on Kai and not focused on Trina. But how do you feel about it?
I kind of feel the same way, but I think you know what? We did have a character that was focused on Trina, and that was Rory. But
Oh,
like, but like, um, Rory, Kai, we don't know anything else about them. Like, Kai
mm,
plays football. We were starting to get snippets of Rory. Like, Rory had a personality. I think he did something else. What he painted or he
Comic
did something.
Con,
Comic-Con. Yeah, and we were starting to hear a little bit more about him, but we didn't know like he didn't have family. His family was off screen.
right?
But he was really singularly focused on Trina. He to the point. But the problem is that he was focused on Trina when we were all focused on Sprina. And so he was just like, "Ugh, get him out of the way." And now we have Kai. There's no other man getting in the way of that, but we just see him. We're just focusing on him and his football. I would care more about him and his football if I knew more about him, if he had a family, if we had more stake into like seeing him alone and practicing or doing something more about him. But it's just like we don't get the stakes of why well, obviously, I mean, everybody knows about football players because this country is obsessed with football. So they assume that we know, oh my God, he can't play football anymore. This is devastating. But I just don't like, I feel like I need to know more about him to care more about the fact that he can't play football anymore. So, and then, yeah,
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
and then, you're right. Again, it's more focused on him and less on Trina, but Yeah, I just think I need to know more. I need to him have more of a background, more of a stake in GH for me to
Mm,
think about that.
yeah.
But
Somebody
this
somebody
seems
had left a no. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
this seems to be this latest development seems to be just trying to make it so that more of a stake so that Trina will care or feel sorry for him or something. I would have been fine with him just recovering normally and staying another year, you know? And then once they've been in a stronger relationship, him having to decide, do I do football or do I stay with Trina? That would have been like probably more interesting as we got to know them and had them more as a couple. But now it's like his life is devastated. So now we just got to feel sorry for him and Trina's got to feel sorry for him and that's why she's going to fall in love with him. No. She was on her way to falling in love with him because he had an interest that was outside of her, but yet she was learning more about him. She didn't have to feel sorry for him in order for her to like him.
Mm,
So I think that's a little bit, I don't know, manipulative or whatever, but I don't know. But I didn't think it was necessary for him to not be able to play football ever again for that story to move forward.
yeah. I mean, I have long wished that they were out of college. I think that being in college like shackles them from being a like part of other work. Um, I I have said before I wish they would have like matched like art with like let's get creative. I think The Bold and the Beautiful does more stuff like this, right? Like it would have been so cool to see like a matchup like where Trina would have gone to Deception and been like I really want to do something with like art and beauty, really similar to what they did when she did something with like the animal exhibit or something like that. And like that then like gets her in with the deception crowd and like she's not just in the gallery by herself. Like something like that would have been for me interesting. They just need to get them out of college. I think there was too much being contrived with him being a football player that was like extremely unnecessary. Um, and somebody left in our comments, and I thought it was really interesting about how, yeah, like as a black mother, she would have never let her kid be in the hospital without her. And I thought that was interesting as
Yeah.
well. Um, because that's true. That's like a cultural nuance that's very real that ain't no black mama letting you leave. Like if you leaving from where y'all had the game to go back to Port Charles to be in the hospital, I'm going to Port Charles with you.
Yeah.
And if that wasn't the case, then to your point, like maybe he could have said like I love football, but I really want I'm really doing it to like help my family out. I love football, but I'm really doing it or I'm going to the NFL because my mom worked so hard to get me there or whatever it is. That would have given us another layer to that than just I like football. This art project's fun. You're pretty. That's been his whole personality.
Yeah, I mean, to the point of the hospital thing, it's not even just a hospital. Most moms would have gone with him to college. If she had no other kids, she's going with them, you know? But yeah, so it's crazy that he has no family around him and no other, people in his life to support him. So
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I do hope, like I said, because I think what frustrates me or worries me about this story is that it feels like it's about to be even less about Trina. It's going to be even more about him. And we, because they have done such a poor job of building Black Hospital, we don't have a balance for her. Like when you think about other characters, their story is like my job and then my family. Like, think about a Maxie, for example. She got deception and then she got her family. And her family is like Mac and Felicia. Like, there's like stuff going on. We don't really get a lot of family stuff with Trina. We haven't heard her mention TJ. We haven't seen her with Curtis for real. Like, Portia's like very distant. It just So to have that be the case and then have her to be in another relationship that's really about her supporting this man as opposed to like him just being in awe of her feels you know, not great to me. But I'm gonna keep watching. I'm gonna keep an open mind. As I said, I think they're cute. Um, yeah, I think they're cute.
Can we go back to Carly in Germany?
Of course. Yeah, let's talk about it.
We talk about how cute her and Brennan are. One thing I
Yeah.
noticed is that Brennan has a way of getting Carly to make better decisions
Mm-hmm.
without condescending to her or without lecturing her. So she, like, Jason does the same thing with Carly, except he's like, no, count to 10 or do this. He kind of treats Carly like a child, Jason does. Whereas Brennan gets her to come to the conclusion that she's doing the right thing for the right reasons on her own and makes her feel good about making the decision of doing the right thing. Whereas Jason guilt her into doing it. And so I think
Mm,
it's like a different dynamic, which I like because it's like that comes from a, I know Jason loves her and cares about
of
her,
course.
but I think Brennan respects her
Mm,
as a human, as a woman who's strong-willed and powerful on her own and can make and smart and can
mm-hmm.
think things through. And I love it. And I think he admires her for that. He's not coddling her. He's not he whatever he's doing out of the kindness of his heart because he has feelings for her and he wants to impress her, not because he doesn't think she can take care of herself. And I love
Yeah.
that. It's so sexy to me. Love it.
I I do think that their dynamic is interesting, especially when you think about like a Jason. I feel like I like Jason and Carly's friendship. I've always liked that friendship,
Yeah.
but Jason's presence regresses Carly.
Yeah.
If you think about when he like the last time he was gone, everything was about her standing on her own. Even when she divorced Sonny, it was like, you know what, you've offered all these things out, but I want to be myself. I want to take the Spencer name. I want to, I want to own my mother's restaurant. I'm not letting anybody give the hotel back to me. I'm going to earn it back. And then as soon as Jason came back, it was like, okay, you bought this for me, you gave it to me, thank you, this is what I'm waiting for, even though it's not.
Right.
And then anytime I need something, I have to lean on you. Like, what if I need you? Well, what do you mean? What if you need him? Like, I think she wanted a cell phone. Like, what if I need you? Well, you hadn't needed him for years. Why would you need him now?
Right.
Like, what would have been a more interesting dynamic for me to watch as a Harley fan would have been for him to be almost shocked at how independent she was without him.
Right.
And so even with Brennan, who is constantly doing for her, he is doing for her in a sense of like letting her continue to do for herself. So like, can you offer me this thing so that I can then continue to take charge? You are a person I know who can provide me something so that I can do for myself, as opposed to me asking you to do it. And I think that that's like a really big difference in that relationship. Yeah,
It's hot.
yeah.
So I'm
Um,
really enjoying, I'm so glad that he went to Germany after her.
Me
He
too.
and so I think it's great.
Hmm. Hmm. The other thing, I mean, I mentioned it briefly, but uh, Curtis and Drew was such an
Woo!
interesting scene. Um, I never have felt like Donnell and Cameron had really great friend chemistry. I thought that, our guy before had it, Billy had it with him, but I never really bought them as friends. Um, but that scene was so wild. It was like if he went in to like ask him to do something and then he got indignant and like threatened him afterwards. Like Drew threatened and like almost like was trying to blackmail Curtis afterwards. Like, what what is the point of what is the plan with this character?
I don't don't know. And then just like not just taking no for an answer. I'm just like, dude. So you're
Mm-hmm.
really trying to make an enemy out of everybody. You're like, dude, I'm gonna come in and I'm just going to convince Curtis that I'm still his friend and I want to still be his friend and maybe he'll help me out and get me back my company. And then, but if not, fuck him. I'm going to blackmail him. What the hell? I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
is this you trying to make amends? This is not working. You are
Mm-hmm.
horrible now. Just
Mm-hmm.
evil and horrible. And I honestly can see why he's obsessing over Willow because Willow's the only person that likes him. And if he didn't have Willow, he would have nobody. Like Scar, I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure Scout is over him right now. She she's like, dude, you pulled me away from the family that I've known.
Yeah, where are my mom's brother husbands, Dante and Uncle Jason?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he Drew has been so disrespectful to Sam's wishes because he could not keep it in his pants. Like, I am still stunned by how shocked Willow and Drew are that people are mad at them. And there is something I noticed about Drew. This is part of my hot take, but is that I don't like he looks unhinged because in real life, Cameron Matheson's like pretty clean shaven, all of that. Drew does not look that way. Drew looks unhinged. Does bro got a brain tumor or something? What's happening? I'm trying to understand where you're taking us because he is so indignant. Even when he's talking to Curtis, the plan was always for Michael to have the company. You were gonna put the company in a blind trust, and that was like you're kind of paying Michael off for sleeping with his wife when you thought he didn't know.
Right.
It just really feels I don't know. It's just like they act as if they were in the right, and that's what makes the relationship so nasty. There's obviously like it just the anniversary of it just went past, so it was like the clips of like Lucky going off on Liz and Nicholas when he found out about the affair.
Mhm.
Um, and part of why Liz and Nicholas were able to bounce back from that as characters is one, they let Lucky go off in a way they never let Michael. And that they felt remorse. They weren't like, why is Lucky so mad at us? They were like,
They
oh,
know.
I really hurt him deeply.
Yeah.
And they're just like, what? We fell in love. We want to be together. Get out of here. You look wild.
Crazy.
So,
And yeah, it's just like it's all about vengeance. It's not about vengeance and obsession and possession. It's not about actual caring for one another.
mm-hmm,
Weird. And yeah, it's such a like part of me wonders if Cameron Matheson enjoys playing something totally different. I don't know because I'm just like yeah, if not, I'm pretty sure he's feeling uncomfortable with the whole thing. It's
mm-hmm,
like so out of character, even for like Ryan Lavery it was an interesting, he wasn't all good, but he wasn't like this. He wasn't like
no,
he he wasn't
no,
purposely trying to hurt somebody and be evil. He was a little bit out of pocket with Kendall sometimes, but it was just like it wasn't like this. It's just
no. And
so
Ryan, well, okay, so several things because I totally agree with you. And I
right.
think that what you're saying is really, really key. Ryan had the cachet on the show of being that.
Yeah.
And this is the key thing for me about GH is that they really only know how to have one person being really trifling at a time. So it's like there are not multiple affairs or multiple this or multiple that. When something happens with one person while they're being kind of like a villain, it's just them. the other stories are boring and not like scandalous in the same ways. So I know that Cameron, I think part of what we're seeing on screen, because some of that is also the way the actors choose to act it. I know that there are a lot of actors on GH who have voiced that it's hard for them when their characters are wrong. So like Maurice has like said, he thinks Sunny is on the right. So even if you think about some of the things that he's played, he really be thinking Sunny's in the right. And I think that that same thing happened with Nina. One of the reasons I said I never liked Nina even when Michelle played her, but I didn't find her unwatchable. I was so frustrated with Cynthia's Nina because Cynthia was always trying to infuse likability within Nina. I could handle Michelle Stafford's Nina because Michelle Stafford was like unapologetically like she was basically Phyllis from Y&R on GH.
Basically.
It was very unapologetic, and I like that actually. Um, Whereas to Cynthia was always trying to get you to like see a humanity in Nina that was never on the page. And so what you're trying to like dig to make us see actually isn't there. And so for me, it came out very gaslighting. With Cameron, I've heard interviews where he's talked about, well, Sonny and Carly have done this or the Quartermains have done that. Cameron, boo, you don't have the cachet on this show to do what Sonny and Carly or the Quartermains have done. So when he is being indignant as Drew, he actually believes it as Cameron, and it shows up in the performances, and that's part of the reason it's so hard to watch.
Hmm.
So I don't know, bro. Again, I'm hoping for a brain tumor for you because you've done too much.
Yeah, and another
So
thing, yeah, he doesn't have a cachet, and his character previous to him didn't act like that.
no,
And so it's like a total 180. And the only thing that could explain it is a brain tumor, a la Franco. So
or somebody is still controlling him with a tarot card.
the tarot card. Yeah. Helena's out there. I still believe. I believe in Helena. She's gonna come back. She ain't dead.
Um, no, I want my girl. I always will take Helena back. You're gonna have no explanation. Just bring her.
Right. And we would just believe it. Be like, oh,
Hmm.
Helena's back? Yes.
I'll take it.
You have to explain it. Ice Princess, whatever.
Whatever. Bring her back. You ready for previews for next week?
Yeah.
All right. Full week. Monday. Lucky and Elizabeth take a risk. Anna sees Jason in a new light. Laura confides in Lulu. Christina is suspicious. Nina and Curtis form a plan.
Before you begin, um, move forward, um, the actor that plays Spinelli, his name is escaping me. He read the previews.
Bradford.
Bradford Anderson read the same preview. And
Hmm.
when he read the line, like somebody sees Jason in a new light, he's
Anna.
Anna. He's like, Jason? What light? He's pretty basic. So it was like hilarious. He was giving his own commentary. It was
Yeah,
cracking.
I watch him every week. He's very funny. Bradford. Um, Tuesday. Alexis is left reeling. Trina encourages Kai. Carly receives a warning. Anna confronts Emma. Chase has news for Brooklyn. Wednesday. Dante is horrified. Tracy and Martin have a run in. Cody is blindsided. Brooklyn ponders her next move. Sasha opens up to Jason.
What do you think? People are putting it out there that Geo might actually be Cody's and not Dante's.
I I don't want him to be anybody's, but I also like am not interested in another set of kissing cousins because it feels like he has a crush on Emma. They feel like they're trying to do something with them. And so if Dante or if Gio is Cody's kid, that makes him related to Emma. And how many kissing cousins do we know on the show? Enough. And that's what I think. But I also don't want him to be Dante. So
Right.
it's never. There's no good answer.
Right.
Um, Thursday, Carly and Brendan get closer. Boom chicka boom boom. I hope. Lulu confides in Maxie. Molly and Christina are stunned. Dante briefs Chase. Cody jumps to conclusions. Friday, Rick and Ava make a plea. Dante confronts Anna. Brooklyn seeks out Cody. Laura gives Lulu food for thoughts. Brad makes an outrageous request.
I think Christina and Molly find out about Rick and Ava.
Maybe. Mm, a mess. There we go. All right. Well, again, make sure that you like, you share, you subscribe. Feel free to buy us a coffee. Obviously, you don't have to, but we always love it. And make sure to check us out next week so we can find out what the heck everybody's confused, stressed, upset, shocked, all those things. Bye. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.